I wanted to do a little small video on growing okra. Um, Okra is one of those crops that there's no need to buy the plants in the little containers at the box stores or trying to sow them in a cup or anything like that. Anytime you can sow your seeds directly into the ground, you want to do that. You'll wind up with a better plant that'll take off pretty fast. Some plants are better to start inside in early spring since the weather's kind of cool and it's hard to germinate. But okra seems to be one of those that you don't have to have that problem with that. I've never had problems out of it germinating right out the ground. So I put these in the ground by mid-April, and here it is late April, so it's about a month later. Uh, they kind of get off to a slow start after they germinate, but once they get off, we've got some rain, so they're ready maybe for a little bit of fertilizer. And once they get started, they'll kind of shoot off really fast and start developing a nice stalk. Here it is around the end of June, so about a month or so later, and they're doing very well. They're already, starting to bloom, put out okra. So you can see the okra on there, just ready for harvesting. And these okra plants have a long way to go. They do start putting okra out pretty early, but they'll continue to grow into a stalk, and a big tall stalk, and they will continue to put okra out. And that's when they start getting about 4 feet tall. That's when they, to me, start putting out their bumper crop. They really start putting out, and then they'll continue to put out till the fall. And they should get about 6-7 feet tall. So what I've done, I've kept them whole. You want to hoe around them. You don't want grass and everything growing up against them. And I've done some triple 13 fertilizer around them. I'm gonna get out here and hoe around them one more time and put a little more fertilizer around them, and that should be it. They'll just continue on growing. The only thing I need to do is just keep the weeds from around them, and they'll continue to put out. I'll do another little short segment on harvesting the okra. I'll wait for them to get a little bit taller, and I'll show you how to harvest them, but it's very simple. All right, it's a few weeks later, and the okra are starting to put out again. We did have a little period of dry weather, so whenever the weather gets dry, you will see a slowdown in the okra blooming and producing fruit. But we got some rain in a few days ago, so we got some moisture on them, and they're starting to bloom again. But what you'll notice is that when they're about 3 to 4 feet tall, to me, that's when they're at their best, and they're giving off their best quality fruit, or their bumper crop. But they're very easy to harvest, and you want to wait till they get about 3 or 4 inches long. You don't want to really get them over 4 inches long, but they're easy to harvest. You just snap them off. Very easy. You see it pop right off. What I recommend though, what I normally use is the little garden shears, and I just come through and cut them off. That way, if I get one that's been on there a while and it's about 5 or 6 inches long, it may not be hard. It may still be good to eat. They can be kind of difficult to pull away from the plant. So I definitely recommend using some little garden shears to snip them off, and that way it's less stress on the plant, or no stress at all on the plant when you do it that way. Okra are very easy to grow. I really don't have any problem out of garden pests with these, any kind of pests or insects bothering them. The only thing I have a problem with is ants. There's something that's really attractive to ants about that bloom, and I believe the bloom, it puts out that liquid that's the start of that sliminess, and it's something that's really attractive to ants about that. So every now and then I do have to spray the ground with an ant spray, and I use the same type of ant spray that you would use around your house. I don't saturate the soil around the plants with it too much because I don't want it to jeopardize getting into the plant. But I just spray the little coating over the ground just to keep the ants at bay. And I don't retreat it unless I see, evidence of ants trying to get to them again. But that is the only problem I have out of them. But and if you have ants in your area, you'll have problems with ants trying to get on your okra. I planted these about 6 inches apart. I recommend planting them about a foot apart. I think they'll do better if you got the room. I should have planted 2 rows and just planted them 6 inches apart. 1 foot apart. But they did pretty good, as you can see, growing that close together. And you need at least about I think a 60 to 75 foot, 65, 75 foot long row of okra to have enough to, to really come out and harvest and have a good meal. You're never really gonna come out and harvest enough to feed a family of 4 in one day, but over a course of a week, you should be able to come out and harvest enough to, feed a family of 4. Or if you want some to give away, or, if you want to pickle some, I enjoy pickling them. But if you really want to have a real fruitful year, you really need quite a bit of them, at least, like I said, a 75 foot row, and have them spaced out about a foot apart. But that's it. They're pretty easy to grow. They didn't require a lot of fertilizer. I did put just side dress them with a little bit of triple 13 fertilizer when they first start coming up like this, but they really don't need any more fertilizer. If you see them getting a little weak looking, stop putting out a lot, even if they got a little moisture. That may be a sign you may want to put a little more fertilizer around them, because they do put out for a long time. They put out all the way to the fall, all the way till you get a good frost. But they are easy to grow, and I hope you grow some. And thanks for watching.